With the release of Black Ops 6 and a new DLC 1, we've got a total of 9 perks available to us, with brand new augments to boost their abilities. So what better time to go through and rank all these perks from worst to best. Now bear in mind that this list is my opinion and is specific to the style of gameplay I use, so if you don't agree, that's fine. Alongside this, I'll also identify the augments I use for each perk, so let's not waste any more time and let's get straight into last place on this list, which for me is Elemental Pop. Now this may come to a surprise for some, but maybe not to others. I know people might think that mainly Macchiato would be the bottom of the list, but for me, when I'm setting up on any of these maps, I'd be lying if I said that Elemental Pop is pretty much always the last perk that I grab. In my opinion, why am I buying a perk that randomizes the AAT that I could have when I could just purchase the one I want for 500 salvage? To me that's a non-brainer, and I only ever buy the perk when I have the spare essence and nothing else to spend it on. Now the augments I'd personally choose for this perk would be Electric Cherry, because let's be honest, this is basically a perk inside another perk, and Vulture Beam, because if I am running this, I might as well get the extra elemental damage. Number 8 on the list is none other than Melee Macchiato, a new addition to the long list of perks we have, but unfortunately for Treyarch, not their strongest effort. Now if I'm being honest, I know a lot of people would have previously said that this was the worst perk, some may even think that it still is, but personally, I wasn't about that hater life, and I believe that it's how you use the perk that counts. Whether you're using it to siphon health from zombies or claiming extra ammo, this perk does have its advantages, and that's without the new Sword Wonder Weapon additions that make the perk even more important. Treyarch definitely had this in mind when they were designing the perk. But sadly, all the other perks are just so good with their new augments. For my augments, I like to run Vampiric Extraction for the extra health and Hidden Impact for the extra ammo, both very important factors in the game. The number 7 spot might come to a bit of a surprise to all of you, but taking into account both the base level perk effects and the augments, I personally believe that Speed Cola should sit in this spot. Now I know this might trigger a few people, but in my opinion, whilst I enjoy the quicker reload speeds and armor refills, there are ways around it. We have plenty of different attachments including ammo mags that can change the reload speed of weapons, and in my opinion the only weapons where I'm crying out for faster reload speed is with launchers, LMGs and occasionally wonder weapons. On top of this, I personally think the augments are a little lackluster compared to what I'd like to see, but the only two that I'd ever choose will be Classic Formula and Quick Swap. I don't know, I just think the augments could be better utilised. In the number 6 spot, we have the highly anticipated return of Vulture's Aid, a great perk to have back in a fold of things, and whilst not higher, I still do rate it. In the new age of zombies, where we have so many variations of loot that can drop, Vulture's Aid has the potential to be really beneficial and help the player. Especially with the addition of salvage being used for things like upgrades and equipment, means you can never have enough of it. The only downfall I'd say is that we no longer have enemy visibility. Mind you, that's what Depth Perception is for, and with it being in Cold War and Modern Warfare 3, I can imagine it will return at some point, so I get why it's no longer part of the perk. Now you all know that I have to run it old school with the augments and go for Smell of Death, getting that classic gas cloud invisibility once again. Oh, and also carry on luggage to increase my chance of salvage drops. Okay, we've made it into the top 5 perks now, and at number 5 we are going to have Stamin-Up. Let's be honest, who doesn't like increased movement speed, especially with the likes of Terminus and Citadel de Mor being on the larger side? It can be pretty handy. Last thing I want to be doing is taking twice as long to get around a map, and because of this I also run Dasher to increase the duration of my tactical sprint, and then with a side of Hard Target just to help me mitigate any projectiles that may be flying my way whilst I'm zooming around the map. The next perk, which takes the number 4 spot, and in my opinion deserved, is PhD Flopper. Of course, we know what this perk does, giving you the ability to cause explosive damage from diving, which by itself is average, but we also get the explosive immunity, which is really important. That means using the ray gun doesn't hurt, and also launchers, and of course the really OP Sally and Forth, much more usable because these types of weapons are powerful in this game. Now let's not also forget that the augments for this perk are really good. I run PhD Slider, a whole other perk on its own, causing damage to enemies while sliding, paired with Tribologists, which gives me increased sliding speed and distance. It's chef kiss perfection, and actually one of the reasons I put it above Stamin-Up, because I use this to get around quick just as much as I do sprinting. So in my opinion, it's fully deserved. We are now into the top 3 of this list, and if I'm being honest, if you told me that I'd be putting this perk in a number 3 slot 5 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. But Deadshot Daiquiri now sits as my 3rd best perk in Black Ops 6. This perk has had the revival of the Sentry. A once useless ability now provides you with improved ADS alongside extra critical damage, which we know on those high rounds can be crucial to our survival. And on top of that, using Dead Head to even further increase the crit damage alongside Dead Break to damage armored zombies gives off so many benefits. As we know, once you hit a certain round, those bullets just don't do the job anymore. So I think this is a well deserved spot for the now crucial perk. Into the number 2 slot on this list, we have Quick Revive. Now, some of you may remember a little while ago I actually made a video around this perk and the downfall I felt it had. And during this time I suggested that I can't see how this perk has a way forward with self revive still in the game. Well, I take that back. Little did I know at the time that health regeneration was going to be so slow if you didn't have this perk equipped. And if I don't have Quick Revive and I'm one hit, I feel like I'm playing Dodge the Zombie for the next minute because the bar just doesn't regen. Placed on top of course with the Quick Revive speed, and it actually feels useful this time round. And this of course without mentioning the augments. Something I also didn't know about at the time. Now I know the majority of people run Dying Wish, but personally I prefer to run Equivalent Exchange, as I personally get myself stuck in situations where 2 seconds isn't enough time for me to escape whatever mess I've gotten myself into. Plus, this way I have the opportunity to keep Quick Revive for a longer period of time in the game, almost like a fallback to when I run out of self revives. On top of this, I also like to run Slow Death as it gives my teammates more opportunity to get me if I'm being a liability, although I could possibly change this if I'm running solo. So yeah, Quick Revive gets the number 2 slot. And we have made it to the top spot of the list, and of course we have none other than Jug himself. Of course, Juggernog. This perk has been staple since day one and has stayed that way throughout its entire history. Let's be honest with ourselves, no matter the game, extra health is always the first thing that we want. Remember the old days when if you got hit twice you were dead? Well, no longer with Jug. And whilst it's nowhere near as bad as that anymore, the extra health is still a lifesaver, and 9 times out of 10, the first perk I grab. On top of this, with Probiotic, you're getting even more health to save your bot ass from getting downed. And also for me running Durable Plates to increase some of the damage coming my way is a lifesaver. Thank you Jug, you've saved my life more times than you can count. And with my skill level, that's a lot of times. And there we have it. This is my ranking of the Black Ops 6 perks from worst to best. Now we're more than likely going to get more added to the game over the DLC seasons. So my question to you is, what do you think will be next? Double Tap, Mule Kick, Death Perception, or maybe another new perk? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Apart from that, thank you to the members of the channel. The extra support is always greatly appreciated. And if you enjoyed the video, then leave a like and subscribe for more. It's free. But on that note, I will see you all in the next video.